And this is Jenny.
And welcome to the 6th episode of
Healingirlszn.
We do have a YouTube channel so you can see the visuals, so you can see all of us in our cute outfits.
Yeah.
Before we start, we want to just say a disclaimer. We are not life coaches or any professionals. We're really just two girls sharing our story. And what else do you want to add on, Jenny?
Take what resonate with you and leave the rest. Today is going to be very exciting.
Yay!
Woo!
Our first guest.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, really excited. Olivia and we met actually years ago. She was my manager, and we still kept in touch.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's just amazing, a boss lady. And I was like, hey, do you want to come on our podcast and talk about your brand and how to be a boss bitch basically? And she's like, yeah, hell yeah. So we're here now. Olivia. Woo!
Thank you so much for having me on here. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to podcast for a long time, so thank you for giving me the opportunity to even be on here and actually feel comfortable and be able to be open. So I'm excited.
We want to ask you, maybe talk a little bit about your brand and what made you kind of get that started. And yeah, because I remember we had a little phone call and you really motivated me and so positive. So I just want to hear your story.
Of course. So the company I'm starting is called MaybeNextYear. And the whole idea is maybe next year or now. Why wait for your dreams? Why don't you do them now? So that's kind of the idea behind the whole brand. And I started it mainly when COVID happened. Only because I was maybe next year or now. Are we just gonna wait for someone to tell us what to do, or are we gonna actually kind of live our own life? Because you can never let someone tell you what to do. You have to live out your own. You can continue to do that, but you won't be well, for me at least, I wasn't happy. And so I made the domain name for MaybeNextYear 4 years ago, probably.
Oh, wow.
So this has been in the process for a long time. I just didn't have the push to actually do it. And I think there's a lot of things when starting a business, just in terms of self-worth and stuff like that, you have to go through when you're actually ready to start.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of, I guess COVID kind of was, it was a negative, but also for me, it was a huge positive in my life, and it was a big blessing because it kind of woke me up to get off my ass and really start doing what I want to do.
Yeah, that takes a lot of courage for someone to just be oh, I'm going to beat all of those negative self-doubt or fear, because honestly nobody else is stopping you, only yourself, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and especially with small businesses. I think Vanessa and I, we were both working for a small business. We stopped doing that for quite a while, but we understand how it felt to start your own business also as a woman too in the fashion industry. Can you share more about how you defeated that fear and overcome it?
I think it just comes back to yourself. It took, and I'm not perfect, we're still working through it, baby.
Yeah.
And life throws different obstacles at you. So I feel every day it's a different challenge within myself too.
Yeah.
And so I feel that was probably the biggest thing, was being confident with who I am. And once I was confident with myself, then I was able to start, and that took 4 years. So I think just having that ego death, really just who cares what people think about you? And at the end of the day, there's always going to be people that are going to come at you, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because you can still keep going, and it doesn't matter. And no one really talks about when you start your own business, how much not hate you go through, but just all those overthinking, all those thoughts in your head that really, and those are just thoughts. They don't mean anything, actually. They're just in our head, So yeah, overcoming all that is super stuff. And still to this day, I'm even on this podcast now, that's already another step,
Of course, yeah.
So yeah.
I also feel you really did manifest this whole, starting this business and everything. And also another thing I wanted to say is you have really cute clothes, because I saw a I guess you put a little preview. It's hoodies and pants, very cozy stuff, which I like.
Loungewear, baby.
Loungewear.
I'm all about the cozy. I think it's good to be cozy. And like, again, like everything's gonna be like, or like right now we're doing more vintage pieces because we're getting everything made, but we'll have like organic, like everything's gonna be like organic cotton, like made in Canada, like really comfy, oversized. And that's just like what I like in general. So I feel like it kind of replicates that too. And then you'll have like the Maybe Next Year logo on, and stuff like that. But it'll be beautiful for sure.
We're really excited.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, guys, please check out her clothing line.
Yeah.
I think she's, you're launching it, your goal is to launch maybe like end of this year, right?
Yeah, like November, December, we were originally gonna launch in the summer, and then we were gonna do a summer launch, and then it didn't work out with what we were gonna do before. Obviously, business curves freaking hit ya, and so you kind of have to navigate in that sense. So we were actually gonna do a full summer line and then had to change everything. We were gonna do like shorts, t-shirts, trucker hats, and then it did, like, that didn't work out, so then we had to switch all of it to toques, sweat. But then it ended up working out because, to be honest, coming out first as like a lounger company, I do want it to be like baggy sweatpants, so it all kind of, life works itself out for a reason, and it happened for a reason.
Sure.
Even though it was shitty at the time, now I'm like, thank God that happened. So,
And you mentioned we, so like how did you put your creative team together? How did you like find them? Were you guys like colleagues before, or?
Oh my gosh, every person that I've worked with, I've met through like just life experiences, and that's what's like really beautiful to me. So like my graphic designer who I work with closely, Nick, love her. Shout out Nick, she's amazing. Like honestly, I wouldn't be able to do this without her. Like just her like love for this project as much as my own just really shows me that this will work because other people's love for it, if that makes sense.
Of course.
Like yeah, she's put in like just as much as me into the business, and like that like just shows, right? And I met her in Costa Rica, and she was my neighbor in the hostel.
Oh my god.
And she lives in, and I remember she's singing in the shower, and I'm like, yeah, baby. I'm like, I love this music. and then she walks out, and and then I just hit it off with them. We didn't even see each other that much when we were down there, but like we like knew like we had that like energy. And then we kept in touch on Instagram. And then when I was starting the business this year, in March, I believe it was, I was looking for someone to do my logo. And the logo, I was literally not even planning on doing any of this. Like I don't even know how I'm here right now. But I was just paying to get the logo done just to see it. Because I've had a logo made for so long on my own, but I wanted it done properly. And then she started her graphic design company, and I messaged her and I'm like, hey Nick, like, can we do this? And then it's history. Like we've been working together since. We were on like our almost project 4 now. We just finished project 3, so we've had like a lot of projects together. And she's done all of my graphics and my content for the Instagram. And then the website guys who do my website, they lived across the street from me when I lived in Vancouver. And I didn't go searching for these people, they just showed up in my life. And I was in my self-grounded apartment, and I was on the corner, and they were on another corner, this couple. And she's a tattoo artist in Vancouver. And her and her husband lived there, and I would watch them, and they'd be dancing on their balcony, having the best time. And I'm like, yeah, those guys are beauties. And then I found her tattoo Instagram, and she does sons, and I have a son. So it was like all these connections, and then her husband ended up starting a website company. So I was like, Moondog, his name's Moondog, Brayden. And I reached out to him, and then I told, right when we started the meeting, I was like, hey, kind of creepy, but like, you guys lived across the street from me. And he was like, dude, what? Were you in that one? And we and again, history with them, and they put in, again, just as much love. So like, when I say we, it's like, I genuinely like have like a really like close-knit team that I work with. And then my best friend Jill helps a lot too. So that's kind of who it is, but there's so many people on the outside that like help, like my mom, like just like those people that I love.
Emotional support.
Yeah, the emotional support is there. So yeah.
I love that.
That's the team.
So
honestly.
I really do feel like the people in your life are meant to be.
They're meant to support you along the way.
Yeah. Have you guys heard of the red string theory?
No.
So it's basically this like Japanese urban legend or some kind of.
I love that.
Basically, they say, but it's more like a romantic. Like if you, for instance, like if you meet someone and you meet them like more than once. It means there's like a reason why. And you met those people like.
Yeah. But the thing that's weird is like it's almost like you see people in passing in your life, and then like you're like, oh yeah, I remember that face, and like they're like it's weird, you know what I mean?
So weird.
Dream or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, I actually wanted to add on that. Jenny and I, we met on Bumble Friends.
No, what?
I was not prepared for this.
Yeah.
No, actually, bro, I was not expecting that.
I wanted to add because I just feel like Jenny and I, like, we're meant to be each other's lives. Like, we meant to start this podcast, meant to invite, like, people, amazing people like you on this podcast. So, I don't know, I'm just feeling a lot of gratitude right now.
Oh my gosh. We all start freaking crying at this table. And actually though, I agree. Like, and that's the thing is people are so like, with social media now, they're like, oh, we met online, like, and it's like, well, no, but this is the new world that we're in, and we've adapted. We're gonna have to adapt to it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And that's just like that's the world we're living in. We didn't have this before, but now we have it now. And yes, you're gonna meet people online and stuff like that. I wouldn't even have been able to connect back with these people if I didn't have it.
Yeah.
So like there's those negative and positives with social media. You know what I mean?
It's crazy how they used to write letters.
I know.
Now we just text. I can just text and, you know, get it right away. And also I feel like we live in a generation where, you know, lots of people are starting businesses, starting things, supporting each other. I think that's great. And just also like motivating each other is also another thing. I think it's, you know, because starting a business is really scary. I mean, I don't know, but like, I started I kind of had like an earring business for a while, but like just taking those steps, it's nerve-wracking. So like, how do you like tell yourself, like what are some things that you kind of do, like do you say affirmations or anything like that?
I would say I like journal a lot, to be honest. And I think going back, like I have like 2 of my journals, I have full journals.
Oh wow.
Like, you know, like when you buy a journal or like a calendar and it's just like fucking empty for like 2 years.
Yeah. That's me. Sorry.
No, but that used to be me. And then I was like, okay, like, no, like, let's actually do this. And I write a lot of questions too, like, what are your goals in the next 6 months? Like, how are you gonna get there? And then I look back on them, and when you look back on them, you're like, oh my gosh.
It's
and there's so many
reminder.
more things that you probably have completed since that time.
Yeah.
And they're reminders for sure.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it too is just like really living, like, and it's tough, like it's not easy and I'm not perfect. And there's some days where I don't do this, but I try my best to like live in the present moment. So like, there's literally nothing I can do about tomorrow. There's nothing I can do about yesterday. Right now we're doing this podcast. Like I'm not worried about what's happening in the next hour. And I think that's when my life started becoming more just a trance, if anything.
Like a flow.
Like simulation trance. Yeah. Because I genuinely am just going with the motions, and I think that when I quit my main job and went full into this with like no freaking plan. Like I quit my job like a few months ago. Like my 9 to 5 that like
congrats.
Yeah.
That's why you're here.
And so if I didn't quit that job, I would be not here, like 100%. And there's struggles. I don't have a lot of money. There's those little stresses, but like, would I rather be doing this or have like all this money and be sitting at home on my computer working a 9 to 5 medical equipment job that I hate?
I feel like a lot of people say choose your battle, but I feel like instead we can ask yourself, what kind of happiness do you want at this very moment, right? You can either like go with what the society expects you to do, which is, you know, work a 9 to 5 job, or you can actually pursue something that makes you happy, like fulfills you internally. Yeah. Right?
For sure.
Yeah, like following your life purpose. You know, like the whole 9 to 5, you know, can be kind of draining, not gonna lie. Not everyone is made to do 9 to 5. That's something that I learned actually. Not everyone is, you know, because I remember I was working with this one girl. She said she had to quit her job because it was just mentally, physically exhausting for her, you know? Yeah. So, I mean.
Also, like, your body will let you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But also, will that, like, company you work for 9 to 5, will they have, like, your back? Do you know what I mean? They can say their family and all that stuff until they have to do layoffs, you know what I mean? And so at the end of the day, it's like, I think working for yourself, it's a challenge, but like, you don't have to have someone tell you when you can go to the bathroom or like go get a coffee. Like, it's your life, and yes, it's scary because you're not in a when you have a 9 to 5, it's comfortability.
Yes.
And that's what's easy because it's a routine and your body's not as stressed, obviously. But once you work on it and you're consistent, then you might get to that point, you know?
Yeah.
And you'll have other people working for you.
Yeah.
But you can create a safe place that you want. And that you're missing in your 9 to 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally.
Definitely, because like, I mean, there's some people who like the 9 to 5. I mean, like I said, each person is different, but definitely if you feel like to people who are listening, like if you really do feel like a purpose, like, you know, follow it.
Yeah, I also wanted to ask Olivia, because, you know, like, the fashion industry, I think it's still, till this day, very male-dominated.
For sure.
1000%.
Yeah, so, and when women are given the position to lead, or, you know, you're like a boss babe, we have so many stereotypical, like, terms that people just want to put you in, like, a category, right? So how do you, like, approach when people say, oh, you're just, like, so dominated, you're, like, full of, like, masculinity when you're in a leadership position? Like, what's your take on that when, you know, people, like, say stuff like that?
Wait, before we say it, I just wanted to say, like, kind of clear things up. You know, people, masculine, feminine, they're energies, they're universal energies. We all have it, you know, and
whether you're a man or
You have both.
Yeah, we have both.
Yeah.
So just letting people know that, because I know there's people who be like, what do you mean by that? But
yeah.
just want to clear that.
I think everyone has their own, like, but I agree with that definition.
Yeah.
100%. I think, for me, if I'm being honest, which is kind of weird, I think actually going into starting my own business, if anything, I feel more in my feminine, which is kind of weird, and I think it's because I'm able to, like, let go and, like, be creative. And I feel like I was missing that when I was working my 9 to 5. I was very, like, I was in my masculine, I was stressed, I needed to control everything. Like, that's for me my masculine energy, and, like, I didn't really, if anything, like it. I have my times when I'm stubborn and need to have it, and it's beautiful. But for this, like, season of my life, I actually do feel at my most feminine than I ever have, which is weird. Like, you wouldn't expect that. But I also think I'm not in the field of, like, in-person retail anymore. It's very different now, like e-commerce. Like, I'm not dealing with I haven't had any of those situations come up yet. Like, I've dealt with men in the industry already. Like I was telling you previously, I had to, like, switch up people. And because maybe I wasn't taken seriously. But I think any new business owner isn't taken seriously, you know what I mean? Until they really prove themselves.
Yes, totally.
But, like, I get what you're saying, like, there is a lot of male dominance, but also I do believe, like, for me, what I really would love to see for the future is, instead of, like, having more division, I really would love if men and women can actually, like, work together. Because I think that's when you create something really beautiful. When you can actually get, like, a healthy feminine and a healthy masculine energy and put those together, I think it's beautiful. Because right now we're so focused on, like, oh, like, I'm a woman, but why can't we all be our own boss? Do you know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like I'm all about, so, like, see, instead of saying equality, I'm more just about, like, unity.
Yeah.
Because no one's the same. You can't have, we're not all, we all have our different things. So it's, like, unity, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of, it's hard to have that, for sure, especially in, like, the world that we're in now. Like, so many people have very strong views, they can't have an open mind. It's very hard for people to talk about their feelings. Like, there's many issues going on, and it goes full circle. So I think just making sure that we can try to, like, support each other is the best thing we can do, rather than fight against the masculine. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. I don't think either energy is bad, and I don't think people should perceive them as bad. Do you feel like the division is caused more so by people's disconnection to themselves, like their higher self?
For sure. I think there's so many things.
Yeah.
And I think even just it ties back to, like, your job. So many people are not happy and they don't have purpose.
Yeah.
And when people don't have purpose, what do you really have? You're on autopilot in your life. You're basically a sim in my life at that point. No, seriously, we have, like, sims walking around. Like, people always say, like, oh, like, the zombie apocalypse. They're like, oh, the zombie apocalypse is gonna happen. Bro, it's already happened. We have zombies. That's why when I go to grocery stores, I never go in the robot. I always do I go to the person, like I won't go to a robot.
Oh, the self-checkout?
I'll always go to a human.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm just like that. Like that's just who I am. People are on autopilot. Like people's job doesn't mean anything to them. They go to their work, they come home, they make them dinner, they watch their Netflix or whatever, or their politician stuff, and then they're like, ugh, and then they go to bed and they wake up and they do the same thing over again, and that's just not the way I want to live my life.
Yeah. It's like a cycle, you know?
It's toxic, and then people are like, why am I so depressed? I'm like, you don't go outside, you don't go in the sun, you order food. And like I'm not perfect, I'll eat a cheeseburger here and there for sure.
Yeah.
But it's just the balance and those little things, like pick your poisons, and I think a lot of people don't have purpose these days, and I think that's why the energy is so low. And then there's few people that can like hopefully heighten it a little bit, because we're all like connected, so.
Yeah, you know how they say that we're all one at
Yeah.
the end of the day?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I actually do agree on that. Like I really do feel like we're always, like a lot of people are on autopilot and not following their purpose. You know that little voice in your head that's telling you, hey, go do, do this, do that. Because I've seen like so many talented people, but then they work these ordinary jobs.
Yeah.
You know, I see people who are like, you know, so good, like good at making music or like have all these amazing hobbies, but then they go and do their boring office job. But you know, like some people like it, but the people, I'm speaking to the people that like don't feel it, kind of want to change. But yeah, like I really do feel that.
Yeah, it's a journey. But yeah, it's crazy. I do feel like there's just a lot of Sims. Sorry, like I'm just kind of stuck on that. I'm just like, yeah, like, and I hopefully like that's another point of my business is to really, cause we'll have a blog on there, and it's gonna have like other businesses on there telling their story. So it's like you guys, I'll even get you guys to do one together if you want, or separate, and just write like why you started your podcast, like what got you to starting your business, and I'm sure a lot of it will be similar. Like I'm sure a lot of us will be like dealing with ourself. And so we'll have that on the blog, and then you can click and like access different companies, because it's not just about me. The point is to help other small businesses and hopefully get other people to do the same. Because there's like 8 billion people, or how many do we have on this planet now? I don't know.
It's just multiplying
many
every single day.
We have all these people on this planet, and people always say like, oh, well, what is going to make you different? For like, how are you going to sell your? We have 8 billion people in this world. There's enough room for everyone.
Yeah.
Like there's so many different niches. There's so many. You think about how many podcasts there are. Soon enough, you could have 100K people listen, but that's actually not that many. Do you know what I mean? We have to like get that idea.
Yeah.
That just because there's other podcasts, just because there's other clothing lines, doesn't mean that you can't do it, and it doesn't mean that you're not gonna you're gonna do well or be successful. I think everyone has their own unique way, and we're all our unique selves. So your clothing line or your podcast will be its own compared to someone else's.
Yeah.
If you're being authentic.
No, I would agree with that.
That is such an abundance mindset you have there, and I'm sure it took you many years to get to where you are today, because definitely it's kind of like normal to be pessimistic, you know, to be negative. People would like listen to you if you were like saying more negative stuff, but when you say something positive, it's like, whoa.
Yeah. And the reason why I thought of that, I remember I was on Main Street staying in my aunt's apartment, and my friend had this guy come over at like 2 a.m, and he like shows up, and there's a bunch of us on the balcony, huge, like beautiful view, and it's like my place like at that time. And he comes over, and we're sitting outside, and my friend's like, oh, like my friend's starting a business, like she was just kind of like popping off. We've had a few drinks, and the guy goes, well, what makes you different? And starts being really negative.
Oh, wow.
And then that's when my mind kind of switched. I'm like, one, I don't even need to explain to you like why. But like some people that are in that headspace where they have no purpose, or like maybe they want to start their own business, it's that like jealousy aspect, but that just keeps me driving more. And if anything, he'll probably see this like a couple, like, no, like seriously, he'll probably see me in a few years from now, and I know I'm gonna do well because that's my mindset. And yeah, like he'll be like, oh, like do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People that like want to bring you down, I always know that it's a deeper thing, and that's why I never get angry. I'm just like, it is what it is, and
transmute that negativity into something positive.
Exactly.
I think they're more like stuck in a mentality of that lack. If they make like a negative comment to like a stranger that they don't even
At my house.
at your house.
At your own house.
Yeah, at your own house. Seriously. Yeah.
At her home.
That's like violation right there.
No, but he really, and if anything, he actually kind of, it was a positive for me because when he started grilling me with all these questions, I'm like, fair enough questions, like, but that's why I went into like, you can still have 6,100 million clothing companies and mine will still be different.
Yeah.
Because I'm different than other people and they have their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think everyone has room
in
any industry.
Yeah.
If you want to do it.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
For real, like, that's like abundance, like we said, like the
Yeah.
abundance mindset.
Yeah.
It's like, I remember like hearing someone said something like that too, about like, yeah, you want like success, it can be shared. Like the universe, like, it's abundance.
Exactly.
You don't have to compete.
There's no end.
And I remember like, have you seen like people who are like really successful? It's because the universe is showing you like you can be at that level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah.
It's all in here.
All is in here.
Yeah. Mindset.
Also, like going back to your brand, what do you think are some main components that inspired you? Like people, places, or like a favorite designer that you got inspired by? Like,
I actually like, there wasn't even a designer. If anything, I think I played off like just the whole about the brand. I'm all about fashion stuff, but the reason why I'm doing the whole lounger company is not just to have clothing, but have something that we can base off of. And so when people are like, oh, what is that Maybe Next Year hoodie? It brings you to like the blog and everything else, and then it's like a whole other experience for someone. Like it's more of like a lifestyle, if I would say. So it's not like we're not just a lounger company. It's gonna be so much more than that, and I think a lot of it will be like in person, like very community based, because a lot of things are very antisocial now, and I really want it to be like a collaborative thing. So we won't just have lounger. Like over time, I want to work with other small businesses and like incorporate each other's ideas together. Like my the website guys that I work with, they have Enjoy Your Mind, which is their Instagram, and I want to work with them one day and just like it's much more than just a hoodie and sweatpant.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it's more like a collaborative experience of people that you met along the way.
Exactly. And then the blog's called Comfort Collective.
Okay.
So it's like you guys,
I see the vision.
Yeah, it's gonna be really like once I think everything's finished, you'll be like, that makes sense. You know, like it'll all kind of just come full circle, like the logo, like it's a circle. It's like Maybe Next Year, and that's why it's in a circle. It's like you're going around and around and around, and then the star in the middle is a compass. I don't know if have you seen the logo?
I'll show you.
Yeah, I'll show you. It's pretty cool, and Nick did a really good job, and that was my idea. Like I should have brought this shirt. I made a shirt like years ago, and it has like the logo with the yin and yang thing with wheat leaves in the middle, and I just made it on Canva just for shits and gigs. And then that's what I gave to Nick as like an idea. So I've given them my like these weird thoughts, and then they put it into like a technical aspect. Yeah.
Olivia, what are some tips that you want to give to the viewers? Viewers, listeners, just like any advice that you have, like, because I think a lot of people are listening. We don't want to just like say like our girls, but we want to kind of like broaden, but like being a big sister,
entrepreneurs or people who actually want to, pursue their dream, but they're struggling to like listen to their inner voice. What is your advice to them?
Try journaling. Like it doesn't work for everyone, but that's what my advice would be, because that's what worked for me. Writing down like what you envision your life to be. And I think when you write those things down, then your mind is open to the idea of that happening for you. And so that was like kind of like my first step. And then also just like asking yourself questions. Not just being like, I want this, I want this, I want this. Asking yourself questions like, what do I need to do to get to that point? Like maybe for me, like I freaking sometimes drink too much. Like there's certain things that I need to work on to like get to certain hires. Like I'm good now, but I know that there's more that I can do for myself to get to even a higher point. So focusing on the things that are holding you back.
I like that.
Like what just asking those little questions. And I always say ask questions regardless what it is. Always ask questions.
I was gonna say there's this one quote that really motivated me, and it's like they say if you have a problem, write it down and your problem is halved.
Yeah.
So like anything that, you know, like
you write down that problem, boom, you're like, okay, now what am I gonna do about it?
Yes.
Write down all the things, like, oh, maybe like I freaking keep, like I'm not eating well, like that leads to so many other problems. Like there's so many things that we don't realize that can be negatives in our life. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Who makes you feel like shit? Ask ask questions.
Yeah. Actually, another thing I would like to add from this conversation is, from your experience, I could tell that you were not afraid to just approach to like strangers and create like a connection with them. That's how you met your designer and your web designer.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe lead life with curiosity.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
just not be afraid to like, you know, build connection, get to know one another, because honestly, Vancouver, there's so many people that's like, they just want to gatekeep everything. And
no, be freaking open. I love meeting people. Like, and I have my times where I need to be like inside and like hermit. But like when I'm out, like I genuinely love meeting people. That's why I love traveling. That's why like I started this business so I can travel, get fabrics from all over the world, like start my own. Like, you know, like there's so many ideas, and I think life is so short. You truly don't know what's gonna happen, and like we could be reincarnated. Who knows? But that's a whole topic for another day. But yeah, I think just focus on what brings you joy, and
amen to that.
It's been a beautiful episode. We're gonna close it.
We've had a long night. You guys did.
But like we wanted to say thank you, Olivia, for being
our first guest.
First guest.
Yes.
I feel grateful.
That's good. Me too.
No,
We're grateful
amazing.
too, because like, you know, Olivia and I, we've been like, even after I left that job, we were still in contact, and she's still my reference. So.
To anybody who's listening out there, who's like doubting whether or not they're worth it, whether or not they should quit their job and just go for that dream that they're trying to pursue, just do it. Honestly, nobody else is stopping you. And
re-listen to this podcast.
Maybe next year now, baby.
Maybe next year.